We're back for NFL predictions here for week number 17. We are on the final stretch of the NFL regular season, on to the postseason shortly, but of course we still have a couple playoff spots that are yet to be filled. Obviously, most of the playoff picture hasn't been settled in terms of where each team is going to be seeding-wise, but for the most part, we have every single team that we know that's going to be in. That's one hell of a way to say it, but for the most part, right, every team that's going to be in the playoffs has already been locked in to either being in or out. There are only 4 spots remaining for the postseason. So we've got the Seahawks, Bears, Eagles, Niners, Rams. Those 5 teams are in the NFC. The 5 currently in the AFC are the Broncos, Patriots, Jaguars, Chargers, and Bills. And there are 4 remaining spots between basically the Steelers and Ravens. One of those two can get the 4 seed in the AFC. The Texans or the Colts can get the 7 seed in the AFC. And in the NFC, the 4 seed can be the Panthers or the Bucks, and the 7 seed can be the Packers or the Lions. That's it. Those are the only teams left alive in the postseason race here in 2025. So, folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more NFL content here on the channel. Later this week, we're going to have our NFL best bets and best player props. Best bets for money lines and spreads have been moved now to Friday instead, just because there's no college basketball this week, so I have time to do that video earlier now. So, best player props, it's still going to be on Saturday. Best spreads going to be on Friday. That's going to be at noon on Friday. Player props now move up to noon on Saturday. Let's do it, folks. Again, daily college basketball best bets and NBA best bets still rolling on the channel, but today, obviously, with it being Christmas Eve and no games on, we don't have anything for those, but NBA Christmas predictions or best bets will be out tomorrow. And also, go make sure to check out our college football predictions. There is a game today in college football. It is the Sheridan Hawaii Bowl. So go make sure to check out our college football bowl predictions. Those will be linked in the description down below. Okay, on to the first now of our all 16 games this week for the NFL. We're going to kick things off with the Christmas games. I couldn't have thought of a more uneventful Christmas slate for the NFL to put on than what they have on Thursday this week. There are 3 games, ultimately, guys, don't really matter. I hate to be a downer on this one. It's the truth. We're going to talk about them, obviously, but these don't really matter much in terms of playoff positioning. Now, if the Detroit Lions didn't A, get screwed last week, and B, could have scored in the first 3 quarters and could have gotten 1 stop in the 4th quarter, then that Lions-Vikings game would matter. Cowboys-Commanders, okay, they're both out. And then Broncos-Chiefs, it's going to be the Broncos versus a 3rd-string quarterback, and that game's going to be how many points can the Denver Broncos win by. Our first game, though, and we've got some massive games this week. Don't get me wrong, right? There's some huge games. Chargers-Texans is big. We've got Niners-Bears, Eagles-Bills, Jags-Colts, Giants-Raiders is huge. Loser basically gets the number 1 pick. And then we've got this. The Dallas Cowboys are playing the Washington Commanders. Do yourself a favor and don't bet on this football game. I'd argue there's not a single bettable game on this schedule except for the night game. And I'll get to that later. Cowboys Commanders, I think the Cowboys win. I think the Cowboys likely win by more than 7 points. But after the Eagles struggled through 3 quarters against Washington, I don't know. Now, who's playing at quarterback this week for the Commanders? It is somewhat unknown. Obviously, Jane Daniels has been, sat down for the rest of the season, not obviously due to performance because of injury concerns, so Daniels is done for the year. Marcus Mariota starts their last game against the Philadelphia Eagles. He gets injured. He did not practice on Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. If it's not Mariota, the starting quarterback this week is going to be Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson, the 39-year-old quarterback who has been on a million teams. I mean, do I need to list them all for you? Johnson's been playing in the National Football League for as long as I can remember. He's, again, 39 years of age. He has the record for being on the most teams in professional football history. Buccaneers, 49ers, Sacramento Mountain Lions, Browns, Bengals, Niners, Bengals, Jets, Colts, Bills, Ravens, Giants, Texans, Raiders, Fleet, Redskins, Lions, Wildcats, Niners, Jets, Ravens, Broncos, Niners, Ravens, Commanders. I think I counted 14 different teams. That's crazy. He's played on 14 different professional football teams. He's been playing in the NFL since 2008, had a stint in the XFL, a stint in the Arena Football League, a stint in the Alliance of American Football, and yet he might start this week for the Commanders. I mean, this is a guy, again, who played on the Redskins, and now he's playing for the Washington Commanders. This is absurd. I think he's going to start. I don't think Mariota is playing this week. If Josh Johnson happens to get injured, Jeff Driscoll is now the backup quarterback to Josh Johnson, former Bengal, Lion, Bronco. Jeff Driscoll's been on a different NFL team, I think, his entire career. So yeah, the Commanders have just compiled to journeyman quarterbacks to be backing up both Daniels and Mariota, and now there's a chance Josh Johnson is starting on Christmas. I'm sure that's what the NFL had in mind when they were putting games on Netflix. Dak Prescott versus Josh Johnson. The Cowboys should win. Cowboys should dominate this football game. Prescott's already come out in the media and said, I'm not sitting, I'm playing the rest of this year. I mean, for good reason. I mean, why would he? He's trying to turn it around for next year. And that's, again, I respect that. That's great. I don't care about this game. I don't think the Commanders are going to be able to keep up scoring-wise. And you're going to hear that a lot. These games don't matter this week. A lot of them do. And we're going to get to a lot more of that next week. But this especially just doesn't matter. I watch the NFL over the NBA on Christmas. If they're both on, I know, again, I grew up watching NBA Christmas, but unless it's the Lakers, I watch the NFL. I might actually watch the NBA this year. I might actually. I'm not going to watch it over the Lions game. Over this game, though, yeah. I could either watch Spurs versus Thunder or Cowboys Commanders. Guys, I'm watching the Thunder Spurs. Spurs are 2-0 against OKC this year. I'm just saying. I'm taking the Cowboys to dominate, though. Prescott's going to be the best player on the field. They lose the Chargers last week. Again, we kind of saw that one coming. We thought this team was going to kind of fall apart after they got eliminated from the postseason. It's kind of what happened, I think. They just didn't really care. I'll go Dallas winning on the road. Do I give a damn? No. So there's that. Give me the Cowboys. Next up, we go to the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. So I do believe the Lions got robbed. I think so. I think it's absurd I think the first OPI is a lot worse than the Amon-Ra one. And I think the Amon-Ra one shouldn't have been an OPI either. Like, you can make, guys, I keep saying this too. Officials, it's a matter of how much they want to let go. I mean, if you really look at a play, 90% of the time, you can blow a whistle and you can call a flag on every play in the NFL. And you cannot do that at the same time. And no one's going to bat an eye to it, for the most part, right? There are so many tic-tacky calls, but when two of them are called in succession, like the Lions had against the Steelers, now people pay attention. Now we're like, all right, what is this? I didn't think Tesla's was an OPI. Tesla gets pushed into the Steelers defender, and yet the penalty's on Tesla. He's running a slant route, and he gets pushed into the other corner, or the safety for the Steelers. Amon-Ra is wide open, and that's an OPI. I don't know, man. I think the Lions got robbed last week, and ultimately, it's going to cost the Lions the postseason. I think they're going to beat Minnesota. I think they will. They're 7.5-point favorites here. They probably should win this football game. And there's a possibility, guys, the Lions will win out. I know I've been saying, the Lions all year long. They probably will win out because there's a very good chance, and we'll talk about it later, there's a chance they beat the Bears next week. Because there's a very good chance the Bears are sitting their starters next week. Because I don't think the Bears are going to have the bye, and they might be stuck in the 2. I think they're going to be stuck in the 2. So the way we see things going down, I'll get to that later. So there's a chance the Lions win out and the Lions go 10-7. I'm seeing Lions fans on Twitter talk about, hey, we need to lose these games because if we lose these games, then we get the fourth place schedule next year and we get to play all the bottom feeding teams. Like we get to play, the Cardinals. We get to play, I think the Titans would be the team that they have to play in the AFC. We get the Giants. The difference between, though, getting the third and fourth place schedules isn't that crazy other than the fact that you'd have to play probably the Niners or the Rams or the Seahawks in the NFC. That's the only tough matchup you additionally get rather than the Cardinals, obviously. But the Lions, they're not going to play to lose, obviously. This team's going to try and win because they are still alive. And this is a game where, yes, Detroit still has a little bit of hope. I think it's like a 5% chance to make the playoffs because they need back-to-back L's for the Green Bay Packers. And Green Bay is very injured, and I will get into that later. And there's a window, I think there's a window for the Lions. But does Green Bay really lose back-to-back? Probably not. There's a possibility, honestly, they could lose this week. And it would give the Lions a little bit of hope going into next week for Week 18. I don't think they lose back-to-back. I don't think so. They play the Vikings next week. And for Minnesota, no J.J. McCarthy. And you might want to clown on 9 and call him corny and all this crap. Sure, you can. J.J. McCarthy's a lot better than Max Brosmer. We all know it. Brosmer made some nice plays for the Vikings over the weekend. I will give him that. That 3rd and 14 ball he threw to Justin Jefferson was beautiful. I think McCarthy's done for the year. Kevin O'Connell said McCarthy has a hairline fracture in his hand. They're just marking him out for this week. There's no reason to push your rookie quarterback back for Week 18 against Green Bay. They're going to start Brosmer next week, so it's going to be the rookie out of Minnesota now for back-to-back games. Obviously not the franchise rookie quarterback that McCarthy is. But the Vikings have won 3 in a row, but with Brosmer, they barely got out of that Giants game. I think the Lions should completely stomp them here. Detroit is still playing for something. They are always injured, and now there's things circulating with David Montgomery and is Monty not happy here? He's, maybe he liked a comment saying he should request a trade. I don't know. What gets understated this season, by the way, is how well Jared Goff is playing, and the fact that Jared Goff's a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League and he gets no respect for it. Goff, 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, 5 picks, 69% completion rate. Just want to put that out there. The Lions will beat up on the Vikings. I'm scared about this defense, but I'm not too scared about it with Max Brosmer. And yes, the sliver of hope that the Detroit Lions have will continue on Christmas Day. Much past that, though, probably not. Lions win the game and cover 7.5 points. This is, I believe, the only real bettable game, though, on Christmas. Why not the Lions? Well, their defense. I'll think about it again on Christmas Day. If I'm feeling, Max Brosmer is going to get dominated. If it was 7 for the Lions, I'd take it. 7.5, I don't know. I'm a little bit iffy on that one. This one, yes, I would probably take. Broncos minus 13.5. Kansas City's not going to score. So ultimately, can the Broncos score 14? Yes. I firmly believe this is going to be a shutout. I don't think the Chiefs are going to score a single point. Gardner Minshew tears his ACL just like Patrick Mahomes does. And the Chiefs are almost an unrecognizable team last weekend in Nashville, Tennessee against the Titans. That game alone basically eliminates Tennessee for the number 1 overall pick because they have the wrong side of the tiebreakers against a lot of those other 3-win teams. So Tennessee's not going to hold all this leverage that we thought they may, and that now might be the New York Giants. We'll talk about, again, that later on in the Tank Bowl of them and the Vegas Raiders. But here come the Chiefs and Broncos. Kansas City does not look they don't. I know they've been bad all year long, but oh my goodness, that Titans game was atrocious. Defensively, they're getting cooked. You're gonna have to go to Chris Aludikin at quarterback. Aludikin, the former South Dakota State Jackrabbit. Good on him for finally, he's been a third-string quarterback his entire career behind Mahomes, practice squad, obviously, with Minshew as the backup, and now he's starting for the Kansas City Chiefs. I have to assume. I don't know who their practice squad quarterback is. Shane Buechele? Southern Methodist quarterback. Wow. Yeah, so it's definitely going to be Chris Aludikin. It's on Christmas Day. I mean, this is what the NFL envisioned, right, for Christmas? They envisioned Josh Johnson, Max Brosmer, and Chris Aludikin starting in 3 straight football games. That's just unlucky. I mean, you probably NFL probably thought Chiefs on Christmas is a slam dunk no-brainer. And now they're getting Chris Aludikin at quarterback, and the Chiefs are the biggest underdogs this week. If they can only score 9 points against Tennessee, they're not scoring against this Broncos defense. And what did I say last week, guys? I told you the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to walk into Mile High and win. That's how good that team is. That's how much confidence I currently have in the Jacksonville Jaguars. And yes, I believe that as I stand right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to the Super Bowl. And I'm going to one-up you here. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win the Super Bowl. That might be an absolutely crazy take. That is currently how I feel about the National Football League. I've had different winners of the Super Bowl all year long. Right now, I am very stuck between Buffalo and Jacksonville. I'm siding currently with the Jaguars doing the Super Bowl. Yep, I'm not sold on the Rams right now. My third would be the Niners. I currently have a Jaguars-Niners Super Bowl. Just putting that out there. That's the Super Bowl I believe that's going to happen. I think for the second time this year, the Jaguars are going to walk into Santa Clara and win. That might sound absurd. That's currently what I believe. Anyways, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs. This game's not going to be competitive. It's not going to be close. You may want to hate on Bo Nix. You may want to, the Broncos aren't that good, though. They got fraud checked. No, they just ran into the best team in the AFC. That's what it is. Ultimately, that's what the Jaguars are. They're the best team in the AFC currently. Okay, no shame in that. Broncos, I believe they still control their own destiny of the number 1 seed. They do. They have a game next week, though, where if they lose, Jacksonville, I think, goes up to the 1, depending on what happens to the Patriots. I'm going to go Denver to beat the Chiefs, obviously, and this one should be a blowout. You know what the Broncos defense has. Aludikin, sure, with a full week of practice might be better, but the Broncos still have the best defense in football. They did get cooked by Trevor Lawrence and potentially the best offense in football in the Jacksonville Jaguars. But give me the Broncos to walk into Arrowhead and beat up on the Chiefs. Broncos minus 13.5. This game will not be close. I'm thinking legitimately 35-0 Broncos. That's my score prediction. On to the Saturday games, and let's go to SoFi Stadium for the Houston Texans going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. A huge matchup in terms of seeding and overall playoff positioning in the AFC, and the Texans are not out of the woods just yet. Yes, the Colts have lost like 6 games in a row. The Colts lose again on Monday Night Football to the San Francisco 49ers. The Colts fail and let down Phillip Rivers. More on that, and Greedo plays clips on TikTok. Regardless, though, the Colts are still alive, and it is a very crazy... It feels like a rough road for the Colts, do not get me wrong. But Chargers beat the Texans, which they're favored to do, and I believe the Chargers will win that game. Colts somehow beat the Jaguars. Yeah, Phillip Rivers and the Colts will be on Sunday Night Football next week in Houston against the Texans. Winner gets the 7th seed. That's the scenario. Texans lose this week, and the Colts pulling out their ass against the Jaguars. Now, I'll get to Jaguars-Colts later on, but first, for now, I'm taking the Chargers to beat Houston. Houston's looking great, I guess, and they almost lost to the Raiders. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, there were some bad defensive pass interference calls on the Raiders in that game. Some really bad ones. And the Texans win, but I'm watching that game like, oh man, this team's like low-key getting bailed out a little bit. And I'm sure the Raiders didn't care. I'm sure Raiders fans don't care. They want the number 1 overall pick. They want Fernando Mendoza. Again, we'll get to that later in the video. There's only 2 afternoon games this week, and that's one of them. So we'll get on to a huge Tank Bowl game later in the video. But Houston has now won 7 consecutive games. Jaguars, Titans, Bills, Colts, Chiefs, Cardinals, and Raiders. They've been on fire. Now you got to go to the Chargers and go to LA and play the Chargers. Justin Herbert's a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. He's playing out of his mind right now. Chargers go to Dallas and beat up on the Cowboys. This team's good. This team has now won 7 out of their last 8 games, with their only loss being, right now, my pick to win the Super Bowl, the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's no shame in that. There is not a damn shame in what the what the Chargers have lost to. Jags lost the Colts a while ago. Okay. Is this still a really good football team? Justin Herbert is playing at a very elite level right now. We do question the help around Justin Herbert quite a bit. And yes, this is a difficult defense to beat. But I have so much less confidence now. My confidence has just gone way down now with the Texans. You play the Raiders to a 2-point game. And were they ever in trouble in the Raiders game? No, I know Genti had the 60-yard touchdown, but for the most part, the Texans were winning for most of that game. I think the Raiders had the lead for like 6 minutes in the entire game. And I was never really concerned like, oh, the Raiders are actually going to beat the Texans. No, I never thought that. But just the fact that you're playing that team that close, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You should be dominating that team, especially for the Texans, who, again, have 10 wins now, playoff squad. You know they probably have to go on the road in the postseason. I think the only way they can win the division is if they win out and Jags lose out, I believe. Or, do they have a tiebreaker over the Jags? They do. Actually, okay, they only need 1 game on Jacksonville, but I don't think it's going to happen. And I think if, obviously, they lose this week and Jags win this week, Jacksonville obviously clinch the division. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers beat up on this defense. I think enough. Let me clarify this. It's a good defense. It's probably, it's a top 5 defense in the NFL, and Stroud's looking a lot better. He played a really good game. I thought had points against the Raiders. I know, again, officiating was a little bit screwy in that one, but I thought Stroud played well, and he's been playing better. I mean, he was really struggling early in this year. Honestly, pre-concussion, Stroud was pretty bad. But I'm still taking the Chargers here. I love what Justin Herbert's been doing, and this team's just playing incredible football right now. And the Chargers defense is very underrated. Yes, again, the Cowboys scored points early, but the Cowboys are going to score against everybody. So I like what the Chargers are doing. I'm going to go Los Angeles to win this football game. We're going to go Chargers money line at -130. We'll take the 1.5 too if you want it, but give me the Chargers to beat the Houston Texans at home at SoFi. On to our next game, and here is a battle of 2 very injured teams, especially at the quarterback position. From Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, we've got the Baltimore Ravens going on the road to take on the Green Bay Packers. Lamar Jackson and Jordan Love both questionable for this week's game. And on top of Jordan Love, Malik Willis now questionable for this game. And this was a big thing in the overtime game, right, at Soldier Field between the Bears and the Packers. Malik Willis gets injured at the end of regulation. And, Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt go, well, the Packers don't have a third-string quarterback. A lot of teams have that practice squad or emergency third-string quarterback, and the Packers don't have one. So if Malik Willis obviously was not 100% at the end of the game, they didn't have a third. And I still don't think they have a third quarterback. The Packers have still not signed a third quarterback, which kind of tells me one of the two are going to play. They'd still need a third if one of them cannot suit up. But honestly, I think both of them probably play. But here's the thing. Jordan Love's really going to... So Jordan Love actually has a concussion. I didn't know if that was official. But he's practicing 3 days after getting a concussion. I mean, guys, I hope this doesn't happen to Jordan Love. Is this not what the NFL is trying to eliminate, though, what happened to Tua? Because Tua gets a concussion... Well, he got a concussion on the Sunday game, and then he played the next Thursday against Cincinnati, and then that's obviously when he had the finger thing, because he got knocked out. It was horrible. It was awful. Is this... Now, I know Jordan Love didn't get knocked out, but I mean, Tua didn't get knocked out in that initial concussion. I think it was against the Patriots on that Sunday game before going to Cincinnati. If Jordan Love actually has a concussion, which that's what they're saying he has, how is he going to play in a short week? I mean, it's Saturday. I guess it's been a whole week, but really? Actually, it's not a short week at all, but it's 7 days. I don't know. Stroud was out 3 weeks with a concussion. Usually it's you miss one game if you have a concussion. I don't know if Jordan Love's playing, man. I kind of find it hard to believe that they're going to let him play. So it's going to be Malik Willis. Okay, they have signed a third quarterback. Clayton Tune is on the practice squad now for the Green Bay Packers. So that does kind of mean, all right, they have a plan now, regardless if Willis and Love are both healthy. Obviously, Clayton Tune, the former Houston Cougar quarterback, was in a QB battle at one point in time with the Arizona Cardinals during the Kyler Murray injury year. It was him and Dobbs, right? Yeah, it was Dobbs versus Tune in the offseason, and Dobbs won the job. But Clayton Tune is the third string quarterback now for the Green Bay Packers, and I assume he'll stay on the roster for the rest of the year, regardless of that, the status of Jordan Love and Malik Willis. This game changes massively, though, if Clayton Tune plays. Clayton Tune, though, I understand the pickup. Clayton Tune is a not as good version of Malik Willis, but he kind of is what Malik Willis does. Not as fast. I don't think he has a better arm, but he's kind of just a watered-down version of Malik Willis. That's what Clayton Tune is. So you have the same game plan if Jordan Love doesn't play. I don't think Love's going to go. From what I've seen out of Malik Willis, they think he's going to play. Will he be 100%? Probably not, but Malik Willis will probably suit up. It's more of will Love play? I don't think so. I don't think Jordan Love's playing. So still, though, you get the Ravens with no Lamar Jackson. I don't think Jackson still has not practiced. He's got the back injury. And the Ravens, yeah, they need to win this game to stay alive, but they're probably out. Like, they don't believe they can still. They need the Browns to beat the Steelers, which is possible, but I believe we're going to get Snoop Huntley. So I think we're going to get Tyler Huntley versus Malik Willis, which is, again, exactly what the NFL wanted 2 days after Christmas on prime time on NBC. Awesome. I'm going with the Packers. I'm going to take a Malik Willis-led team over a Tyler Huntley-led team. Nothing against Tyler Huntley. Malik Willis, I think, can be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and I think should be given an opportunity next year to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League. I think Malik Willis is really good. I honestly believe that. Clayton Tune's just signed to be the backup. Like, Malik Willis is playing at the least. If it's Jordan Love, even better, but I think it's going to be Malik Willis. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to eliminate the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens, too, by winning this game. I believe so. Which sucks because I've been, campaigning. I've been cheering on the Lions all year long, and I love Jared Goff, but I think this is it. I don't see the Packers losing this game at home in Lambeau against an undermanned Ravens team. Give me Malik Willis and the Green Bay Packers to win the football game and cover 2.5 points. Next up, we go to the Sunday games, and we kick things off with, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Arizona Cardinals. The only meaning this game really has is in terms of playoff positioning in the draft. Arizona is part of that 3-loss group, but they actually have they have the lowest, or I guess they're last in the tiebreaker between the three-loss teams in Cleveland, Jets, Titans, and Arizona. But they currently would hold the 6th pick in the NFL draft. The Bengals currently would hold the 9th pick in the NFL draft. Sure, a lot's still being made of, Joe Burrow and his potential, will Burrow stay in Cincinnati? Will Burrow, kind of force his way out of Cincinnati? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think Burrow's going to be back next season. I don't love it, but I think he's going to stay. And I don't know what this team's ever going to be with their offensive line and with their defense, but Joe Burrow's just kind of stuck here because they've spent all of their money offensively. And last week what the Bengals did to the Dolphins, well, that's what they're supposed to do. That's the Bengals team we thought, that's what the Bengals are supposed to be. They can go into games, just blow a team out like that, and a Miami team who should, just didn't look like they should have been out there with them. And sure, again, Quinn Ewers making his first start. Why is that not Zach Wilson? I don't know. Zach Wilson's better than Quinn Ewers, but it's unbelievable. I'll get to that later. Joe Burrow plays well. Chase Brown has 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase over 100 yards. Great victory for the Bengals. They're 5-10 going into this game, now taking on the 3-12 Arizona Cardinals, a team that just continues to find ways to lose. Jacoby Brissett still has yet to win it. He's won what? Since they've officially, this is what the status. Since they've officially announced Jacoby Brissett to be the permanent starter because Kyler's out, they have not won a game. They are 0-7, I believe, since Jacoby Brissett's been officially named the starting quarterback. Because when he started against Dallas, the one game that they have won with Jacoby, Kyler was still, I think, still coming. They thought he's still going to come back. So their guy, Jacoby right now is just the starter, but eventually Kyler's going to be back. They kind of do the soft benching with Kyler, / maybe he actually is out for the year. I think Kyler's done in Arizona probably. I don't know where he ends up. But anyways, Jacoby Brissett has lost 7 straight games, and he's doing his thing. But Jacoby, is playing with no expectation. He's just slinging it all game long for a team that already has the expectation of losing, and they're 3-12, and the Cardinals are staring down another losing season. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals this offseason, I am doing whatever I can to get Fernando Mendoza. You are right there. I think so. Defensively, you're really bad still, but offensively, you are just a very elite quarterback away, a semi-good quarterback away, and a franchise quarterback, that's a better statement, a franchise quarterback away from being right there, in my opinion. You've got some really great receivers. McBride, Marv, Michael Wilson. You've got players. You've got weapons. Backfield, just sign a free agent, whatever. Go, I don't know who they can get. Just find a 28-year-old running back who can still kind of go. And then, boom, Fernando Mendoza. They're not going to straight up have the number one pick. They're going to have to trade for it. That's where they're hoping the New York Giants end up with the number one pick. Because if the Giants end up with the number one pick, then okay, it's the Raiders and the Cardinals trying to trade for one. As an Indiana fan, I want Mendoza in Arizona. That's the best spot in my opinion for him. Will it happen? Probably not. We'll get to that likely destination later. But I think the Bengals beat up on the Cardinals here. These two teams are kind of mirrors of each other. Like, they both don't play defense. At their best, they're really good offensively. But here, one team can kind of win, one team doesn't win, and one team just puts up yards in garbage time for the most part, or when they're already down 14 points. And the other team, actually sometimes gets out to hot starts. And one team's got Joe Burrow, one team's got Jacoby Brissett. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals to win the football game over at home at Paycor, and they'll cover the 7 points as well against the Cardinals. Next up, we move on to an AFC North matchup. So the Baltimore Ravens season does hinge on this game if and only if they beat the Green Bay Packers, which I don't believe they're going to. So going into this one, the Ravens would already be eliminated, but Pittsburgh, I assume, is still going to play their guys. Why wouldn't they play their guys in this spot? Next week will be when Pittsburgh can bench their guys, obviously, and sit their guys because they know where they're going to be in the playoffs against the Baltimore Ravens in Pittsburgh. It would be a meaningless game for Pittsburgh next week. Just with the Ravens loss, even if they lose the Bengals, even if they lose the Browns, it does not matter. They're going to beat the Browns. I think so. I like Cleveland enough. I like Shedeur Sanders. I don't think Shedeur's been playing exceptionally well at all, but I think he's been all right. I know there's a lot of people are very critical on Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he's played poorly. I think it's, this is a rookie quarterback who it needs some help and has receivers who are dropping the football. I'll say that. I will say that. Yes, his touchdown to interception ratio is not great. It's 6 touchdowns, 8 picks. Gabriel's was 7 of 12, but Gabriel can't throw a football. I think Shedeur's going to be okay. It's just, will the Browns give him another chance? And I think they should. I think Shedeur should be the quarterback next year. I think he should be kind of on a J.J. McCarthy timeline where if Shedeur can't figure it out next year, then you move on. I would still let Shedeur get another season. I know the Bills' defense was one that you kind of hope he would play better against. It is what it is. It's been 2 lackluster efforts in a row, I understand, from Shedeur after that great game against the Titans, the bad game against the Bears, not a great game against the Bills, and oh great, now he gets the Steelers. But a manageable Steelers defense, I will say, a manageable Steelers defense. Here's the thing, though. I think the Browns can score. I think the Browns will score quite a bit. And I know Quinshon Judkins now out for the season and probably out for the start of next year as well. Unfortunate injury. Shedeur kind of throws him right into the injury. But Quinshon Judkins now obviously out for the season with the dislocated right ankle. Dylan Sampson likely still out this week too. So it's going to be Travion Williams and Raheem Sanders at running back for Shedeur Sanders. Oh, yikes. But Steelers defense not great, especially the pass defense. Not great at times. The Steelers offense, though, is back. Now, no DK Metcalf for the rest of the regular season, and thankfully for Pittsburgh, well, DK punches a fan, but thankfully for Pittsburgh, it does not seem like they're going to need DK Metcalf for the rest of the regular season, because I think Baltimore is going to eliminate themselves. So Pittsburgh's in. They've already clinched their Mike Tomlin winning record. He does it every single season, so good on him, and good on Aaron Rodgers. Unk's back in the playoffs. Great. I don't think they don't need, obviously, DK to win right now. I don't know what happens in the playoffs for them, but I do think they can beat the Browns. I look at this offense, they're moving the ball downfield. How about Jalen Warren, 143 rushing yards? Sure, 2 40-yard touchdowns against the Lions, and Kenneth Gainwell had that circus catch that he somehow got into the end zone with. But good on Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh finds a way to win the football game. They go to Detroit. In the 21st century, I don't believe the Lions have ever beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is kind of an absurd stat. And Aaron Rodgers has never lost to the Detroit Lions either, which, again, is kind of crazy. I'm going with the Steelers to beat the Browns. I do think they win this game. And this is why, guys. The Browns defense has been great all year long until Shedeur Sanders starts at quarterback. No, okay, they played fairly well against the Bills last week, but I still don't like the defense at all. Yes, they've got a really great pass rush. Everything else, not really sold on. Myles Garrett is 1 sack away. Or is he a half sack? No, he's 1 sack away. 1 sack away from breaking the single-season sack record, obviously currently held by Michael Strahan. Will he get it this week against Rodgers? Maybe. If not, I can almost guarantee you he's going to get it against the Bengals. Oh, with that O-line? Yeah. But Rodgers is a statue sometimes still, so maybe Garrett will get it this week. He had a half sack with Mason Graham last week against Josh Allen and the Bills. So that's really the most important piece and part of this game, because we do already feel like the Steelers are going to have the division clinched and locked up going into this one. I'm still going to go Pittsburgh, though, to cover. It's primarily, I think the Pittsburgh offense is, continuing to play better. Rodgers has a lot of confidence right now, I believe. And I'm going to go Pittsburgh to win with that offense, -3 on the road in Cleveland. But AFC North matchup, they're always tight. I understand. Give me Pittsburgh, though. Probably wouldn't bet it, though. Anyways, next game. Meaningless game, but a meaningful draft positioning game. The New Orleans Saints have kind of killed their draft stock, which I don't really think the Saints care. Because if I'm the Saints, I'm happy I think we found our franchise quarterback. I know he's not young. Tyler Shuck is 26, and he's older than your multiple-year veteran in Spencer Rattler and the Cock Commander. But if I'm New Orleans, I think Tyler Shuck's your guy. I think, again, he goes back on that Shedeur Sanders and J.J. McCarthy type window next year, where as long as he plays fairly well next year, okay, let's give him a third year, right? Like, Tyler Shuck has earned the starting quarterback role for the New Orleans Saints to the point where they don't need to look quarterback in the draft anymore, at least for another season. So, good on Shuck. We getting Shuck tonight. He's playing good football. He's low-key getting aura. The we getting Shuck tonight thing and Shuck saying that at the press conference, I don't know, man. I was a big Tyler Shuck hater because he's 26 and it's like, dude, get out of college, man. But I don't know. I'm kind of liking Tyler Shuck right now. I'm not a fan yet, but I respect it. I respect Tyler Shuck. He's playing good football because I'm a big Cock Commander guy. I'm a big fan of the Cock Commander, Spencer Rattler. But unfortunately, again, Rattler's been sentenced to a backup quarterback for the rest of his career. Man. Anyways, Tyler Shuck's playing great football. Jets game, 300 yards. Panthers game, 200 yards. He just does everything right, it feels like. Okay, let's pause that. Not everything right, but he does enough right. He can scramble when he needs to, making right decisions in the pocket, making game-winning plays like he did against Carolina. I respect Tyler Shuck. He's playing well. Tyler Shuck's playing good football. They're going on the road to Tennessee, and the Titans are coming off their best win of the season. Well, they've only got 3 wins, but it's their best win, beating the Chiefs at home. I don't care who's on the field for the Chiefs. Andy Reid's still standing on the other sidelines. Travis Kelce's still in the field for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 2 catches, but good on the Titans for getting that win. That's a big momentum booster for Cam Ward. Just like, we've always known Ward's going to be the quarterback next year for the Titans, but my point earlier with the Saints and them not caring about their draft positioning, it's like, well, okay, we don't care. We have a quarterback now that's actually gaining confidence, has momentum. And that's what I was saying about the Vikings, too, about them beating the Giants last week. They don't care about their pick. They just want to see J.J. McCarthy play well and get confidence for getting a victory. And Tyler Shuck's now won 3 in a row, and the Saints have beaten in back-to-back games, well, the Jets, but prior to that, the 2 teams that are going to be playing in Week 18 for the NFC South for a home playoff game. Tyler Shuck, by the way, has beaten the Panthers twice and has gone 1-1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm taking them to go to Tennessee and win. Yeah, the Titans looked good last week, but Chiefs offense couldn't move the ball for crap. The Saints are going to move the ball. Tyler Shuck to Chris Olave, what a connection that has been. And Chris Olave's gone this entire year without a concussion. Great. It's awesome. I was getting scared that he's going to be like a Brandon Cooks type guy. I know Cooks is still actually in the league, but Cooks, man, the concussions from him, brutal. But Olave, man, 1,000-yard year, top 10 receiving yards. Who would have thought? On this team, Chris Olave, it's kind of like, Olave's just going to be another one of these guys just around for the rest of his career. No, Olave's kind of on the path back to stardom, like real stardom. So good for him, and that's a big factor. That's Tyler Shuck. I think they go to Tennessee and win. Saints defense playing fairly well, getting stops, forcing turnovers. I know it was against Brady Cook and the Jets last week, but I'm low-key, I'm turning the page right now on the New Orleans Saints. I will say that. I'm turning a page on the Saints. Give me New Orleans to go to Tennessee and win and cover 3 points. I now finally understand what they have going forward. The problem with them, though, cap room is still a massive problem for them, man. They are in salary cap hell still with all those big contracts of the past. So just putting that out there. Give me the Saints to go to Nashville and win. Next up, we go to the AFC South as the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium host the Jacksonville Jaguars. Huge game because the Colts, like we expect, the Texans are going to lose to the Los Angeles Chargers, which would keep the Colts alive. win and force a win or go home week 18 game in Houston next week against the Texans. I think the Jaguars are winning. Honestly, there's not a lot of teams in the AFC I would pick in this spot over the Colts. In a do-or-die spot, Phillip Rivers playing, I would take the Jags. I'd take maybe the Broncos. I don't know. Here's the thing. I want to say that, but at the same time, I just remembered that defense. Guys, that's the worst. I have not seen a worse defensive effort than I did from the Indianapolis Colts last Monday night against the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, you get one pick. Cool. It's at the end of the game. You're down 14 points. A failure is what that game was. It was a complete failure of the defense. You've got a 44-year-old future Hall of Fame quarterback who is, let's say, carrying your team, adjusting everything at the line of scrimmage, doing everything he can, putting up 280 yards at 44 years of age. This guy was on the couch 2 weeks ago on his 44th birthday, and now he's playing in the National Football League, and let's say is playing at an exceptional level is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is not just a NFL quarterback. No, he's a good NFL quarterback at 44. And I believe Phillip Rivers should be the starting quarterback next year for the Colts. And I think it will be a damn shame if he's not. I understand if he does not want to play anymore. You can tell watching Rivers, he still has it. I think he still wants to play. He's their starter, in my opinion, for 2026. Give Rivers a full year at 45. I would. I trade Anthony Richardson in the offseason. I keep Riley Leonard as the backup. And Daniel Jones, you extend, you re-sign. Jones not playing next season, or at least not till the end of next season. Phillip Rivers is a starter next year. If Rivers is, all of a sudden washed, which we thought he was going to be washed this year, he's not. If he's washed at 45, that's why you have Riley Leonard. Rivers should be the starter next year for the Colts. Unfortunately, their defense is just so pitiful, and Chris Ballard has to get fired, right? I mean, the Ballard era has just been failure after failure after failure in Indianapolis. I think this has to be it. I think the final straw has to be your 44-year-old quarterback is putting drive after drive after drive together, and the defense can't get him a stop. What was supposed to carry the Colts through the Rivers era, the second Rivers era, or, tenure was defensively, they're supposed to be so great. And they go from holding the Seahawks to 18 points to giving up points every single time Brock Purdy and the 49ers touch the football. So here's the thing. The Colts will find ways to score. Rivers will find ways to move the football. He's only 300 yards shy, or a little bit less than 300 yards shy from passing Ben Roethlisberger on the all-time passing yards list to get into the top 8, I believe it is, or top 7. Stafford's going to pass him too this week. Stafford and Rivers will pass Roethlisberger, hopefully, if Rivers can get the yards. The bigger problem is that Colts defense. And again, I said it at the beginning, early in the video, I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are winning the Super Bowl. That might change, but I don't think it's going to. I have changed my Super Bowl pick from, and I'll be transparent with you guys, I've changed it from the Lions to the Bills to the Broncos to the Rams. I think I'm settling on Jacksonville. I am. The way I currently see the playoff picture, they're going to get a home game. I think they're going to get 2 home games. I think the 1 seed's going to get upset, likely by the Bills, and the Bills are going to have to go to Jacksonville for the AFC Championship game. And I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win that game. Defensively, they're playing well enough, and I think this is the best offense in the NFL. I think Liam Cohen is an offensive genius. I think he's a mastermind. And I think Trevor Lawrence has played to a top 10, potentially top 5 caliber quarterback this season. I like the Jags quite a bit right now, man. I really do. I think right now they feel like the perfect team. And you look at the AFC playoff picture, who beats the Jaguars in the AFC right now? They just beat the best team. They went to Denver and won. Buffalo, yeah, but okay, Buffalo's going to have to go to Jacksonville. I don't think the Bills go to Duval and beat the Jags. They're going to get the Chargers in the first round. Oh, what's happened the last 2 times the Chargers have gone to Jacksonville? They've gotten blown out in one of them, and they choked a 24-point lead in the playoffs the other time. Who's beating them? The Patriots? I like the Patriots, but I'm taking the Jags to go into Foxborough and win. I am. I know they're a team in Florida, but that's a matchup that probably won't even happen. That would be AFC Championship game, and I don't think the Patriots are still going to be around for that game. Right now, the Jags are my Super Bowl favorite, 100%. You can still get them at great value right now, so just putting that out there. I like the Colts, man. I cheer for the Colts. I'm a big Phillip Rivers guy. I respect it. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to beat the Jaguars, and this is not the offense's fault. Well, okay, Rivers is going to play well. They can't run the ball all of a sudden now. Their run game's horrible. Not JT's fault. They can't block. Defensively, I know they're injured on defense. Oh, they've got, 6-string corners. Okay, yeah, Brock Purdy got everything he wanted, but Rivers outplayed him in the first half, and yet the team was still losing. I feel so bad for Phil. Honestly, I feel so bad for Phil. He's got to deal with this crap. I'm going with the Jags. Unfortunately, I have to go with the Jags. Colts don't play defense. And this is, right now, in my opinion, the best offense in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, Jacoby Myers, and they don't even have Travis Hunter right now. Give me the Jags. Next up, we move on to whatever the hell this is. I'm so sick of the Buccaneers. And the worst part about all this is, guys, the Buccaneers are still very heavily favored to win the NFC South. And they're going to win the NFC South. That's the worst part about this. And it's not like I don't like the guys in the Bucs. I don't know if I'm sure if you watched the channel before and if you've watched the channel a lot, I don't really have a favorite NFL team. I'm a big Tom Brady fan, and I will, always I grew up a Patriots fan, and then when Brady left, I kind of kept up with the Patriots. Was like, I don't really care anymore about New England. I'm a Tom Brady guy, so and I'm not a Buccaneers fan, obviously, but I watched Brady for 3 years in Tampa, and by the time Brady retired, I didn't really care for the Patriots anymore, and I still like the guys in the Bucs, the Super Bowl winning team, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Tristan Wirfs. I like a lot of those guys. Antoine Winfield, a huge fan. I've always hated the coaching there, except for Arians. But I like Tampa. So if I've ever been hard pressed to pick a football team, I still say Buccaneers. Like if I had to have a favorite team in the league, it is Tampa. Even though I'm not close to the fandom I used to be with this team, obviously when Tom Brady played. But if I had to pick a team, sure, I guess it would be the Buccaneers. I think this team, and I like the guys in the team, man. For the betterment of the franchise, they need to lose, and they need to not make the NFC South, because this is what's going to happen. They're going to win the NFC South, and Jason Light and ownership, they're going to be complacent. They're going to say, well, you can't fire Bowles. He won the division title again. So let's give him another year, as they win the division likely at 9-8. And they go and play the Rams probably in the first round of the playoffs, or the Seahawks. Hot take, they might beat the Seahawks. I am so down on that Seahawks team. More on that in a second. I don't know if this week really changes anything about them, but whatever. They're going to go and probably get embarrassed in the first round of the playoffs. No, they'd lose to Seattle. What am I saying? I don't know if I like Darnold going cross country, though, for the playoffs. That's what I'm concerned about with the Seahawks. Anyways, though, they need to not make the playoffs so they can clean house. They're going to, though. That's the worst part about it. They're going to. And sure, it's hard to say, you want your team in the playoffs, obviously. Which, yeah, you do, because you want your team to get a chance to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's the name of the game. I didn't think Tampa had a real great chance to win the Super Bowl last year, obviously, but I was like, okay, a couple things go their way. Maybe they upset Philly. Maybe they upset the Lions, they almost did the year before. I was like, whatever. Give it a go, obviously. I mean, they were by far the best team in the division last year, so cool. This year, they get in, it's like, okay, what? This team's not stringing together 4 games, obviously. This team's lost 5 in a row. 4 in a row. 3 in a row. I forgot they beat the Cardinals. This team's lost 6 of 7. And the Panthers are just bad, so the Panthers have kept them in this. Carolina beats them last week in Carolina, but we said it before, Carolina needed to win both those games. The Bucs needed to win one. So Tampa, and like I've been saying for a while, unless the Colts scenario happens where Colts-Texans is for the playoffs next week, the likely final game of the regular season this year is going to be at Raymond James, and it's going to be Buccaneers versus Panthers for the NFC South Championship. And I'll be very shocked if the Bucs don't win that game. I'll be honest with you. Bryce Young in a primetime spot in Tampa in front of that crowd who is very down on their team and hates their coach and boos their coach off the field, but, well, you win and you're in the playoffs. So obviously everyone's going to show up and, you're going to want to win that game. Tampa this week against the Dolphins, and I haven't even talked about this Dolphins game. Here, guys, this game doesn't really matter because, I'll spoil this, the Panthers aren't beating the Seahawks, okay? It's not the playoffs yet, so Darnold's not going to choke yet. Carolina's not beating Seattle. So the Bucs could lose this game and still be in the driver's seat to win the division next week at 8-9. And I would pick them to win the division at 8-9. I've been so down in Tampa, but yes, I'd still pick them to win the division. Now, they should win this week. And the only way the Bucs get eliminated this week is if they lose to Miami and the Panthers beat Seattle. A very unlikely outcome to happen, but it could happen. It's the National Football League, obviously. Anything can happen. They're not losing to Quinn Ewers. And it's a damn shame the Miami Dolphins are starting Quinn Ewers over Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's been the backup quarterback all year long, but you're going to start this dude? Really? Is this a joke? Sure, he threw for 260 yards last week with 2 interceptions. Zach Wilson should be the starting quarterback of this football team. And again, it's a damn shame he's not. It's disgusting. It disgusts me that that's the case. He's been the backup all season long, and you go to Quinn Ewers, who's not good. It's unbelievable. I just want Zach Wilson to get one chance, because he hasn't been given that chance after leaving that dumpster fire of an organization that is the New York Jets. Quinn Ewers. He was picked in the 7th round. Everyone passed up on Ewers. For good reason. He floats balls downfield. Oh. I hope. Well, here's the thing. Quinn Ewers actually played all right against the blitz last year in college. This is an NFL blitz, though. And it's a very... You can tell when Todd Bowles is sending everyone because he does it every play and every third down, but I don't think Ewers can honestly, handle that. Which, okay, let's try it again. Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Dolphins. They win a game. Would I bet it? Absolutely not. If you want to bet a Bucs game, if you want to get crazy, go next week against the Panthers. Or consider taking right now Bucs to win the division, but it's like minus 180. It's not playable because they are still very much expected to win the division, and they should be. So there's that. Before we get to the Panthers game, let's talk about the New York Jets. You can see the excitement on my face currently after I just ranted a little bit about Zach Wilson never getting an opportunity because he got stuck with this crap organization that I absolutely despise for the single reason that Zach Wilson never got a fair shot and he got scapegoated. And he had a winning record as a starting quarterback of this football team when they decided to bench him for Mike White. They were in the driver's seat to make the playoffs before they benched him for Mike White. They were 7-2 at one point, and they benched him for Mike White. Just because, Mike White throws for 350 yards, he throws 2 interceptions, but at least we're in fun games. But, we win 17-10 games with Zach Wilson because, he's not completing all of his passes, but he doesn't make flashy plays. He's not throwing for big yards. Whatever. Whatever, dude. Because you didn't let him roll out the pocket is what it was. But okay, you wanted to make him a pocket passer. That's just not what he is. The Jets play the Patriots. Who's starting for the Jets this week? Roll a dice. Is it Brady Cook? Is it Tyrod Taylor? Justin Fields' season's over, and that means Justin Fields' time as a starting quarterback in the National Football League is over. Will they start Cook or Tyrod Taylor? I think it's going to be Brady Cook. You have no reason to start Tyrod Taylor. He's 36. Brady Cook, definitely not the starter next year for the Jets, but will be the backup quarterback, I can assume. Aaron Glenn actually has already confirmed Brady Cook's going to start. I will say this about Brady Cook. He's not played well yet. He has 1 touchdown and 6 interceptions. I will say this, it does feel like Brady Cook commands the huddle somewhat. You see Brady Cook after throwing a pick, he'll get back on the sidelines and he's talking to the offensive lineman like he's very involved, and I'm sure he's a very smart mind for the game. I don't know where the talent's really at there. Obviously, this team signed Hendon Hooker last week, the former Tennessee Volunteer. Hooker is on the practice squad, though. Obviously, he's the emergency third-string quarterback with Tyrod Taylor back now. But Brady Cook's a starter. He'll be the backup next season. I don't know who the Jets start. It cannot be Fernando Mendoza. It can't be. It's so bad where I'm like, you know what? I'll take Fernando to the Raiders. It's bad when I'm like, I rather my guy from Indiana be a Raider than a Jet. Because at least the Raiders, Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, there's something. What the hell does a rookie quarterback have in New York? Other than get scapegoated because the Jets aren't winning football games. I mean, this is my biggest thing too. Sam Darnold's a winner now. Despite what he may do in the postseason, Sam Darnold wins. He's been on winning football teams, and the Jets gave up on him. But he got opportunities. Actually got 2 opportunities. Failed in Carolina, which not a great place to succeed either at the time. Baker failed there too. But got it back up in San Francisco, started in Minnesota, wins in Minnesota, wins in Seattle. Zach Wilson hasn't gotten his opportunity yet. Anyways, this Jets team, Breece Hall is getting moved in the offseason. Likely Garrett Wilson, I think, is going to get moved in the offseason. Here they are. They have picks. Ooh, they have the Colts pick. Awesome, which may be enough for them, plus another future first to trade for the number 1 overall pick. I hope not. I really don't want them to get Mendoza. Right now, they're projected to get Caleb Downs probably, or maybe Dante Moore. Dante Moore is really going to come out, I guess. I'm not too impressed with Dante Moore, guys. He's good. I think after another year in college, he'd be really good. But honestly, it would make sense if Dante Moore came out this season because it's a weak quarterback class. Other than Mendoza, Dante Moore would get his name called in the first round. because no team really wants to pick Ty Simpson in the first. So I get it. The Patriots will blow out the Jets. The Jets are completely done with the year. I know they were kind of competitive in the first game this year between these two teams in Foxborough, but the Patriots have already clinched the division. Now they're looking for the number 1 seed, which is possible for them. If the Broncos lose next week to the Chargers, yes, the Patriots will be the number 1 seed in the AFC, which is big for Drake, May. So I'm going to take the Patriots here. I know I didn't say much about New England, but a great victory last week in Baltimore. They find a way to get it done. Down by 10 points, they win. Travion Henderson likely out this week with a concussion, so that sucks. But Drake May is playing out of his mind. Not going to win the MVP because it's going to go to Matthew Stafford. Maybe Trevor Lawrence. No, it's not. It's going to go to Stafford, definitely. But shout out to the Patriots. They're playing great. They should be able to go to New York and beat up on the Jets. Next up, we go to that aforementioned Panthers versus Seahawks game. I will go Panthers plus 7.5. Would I bet that, though? Probably not. But I will pick it. Okay, I will pick the Panthers to cover. Just because I don't like the Seahawks win by more than a touchdown because they're on the road. But Seattle should win the football game. Again, we talked about it earlier. Again, that probably doesn't matter because the Bucs, it would take the Bucs have collapsed quite a bit, but it would take an even crazier collapse for them to go into South Beach and lose to the Dolphins with Quinn Ewers as their starting quarterback. So this probably doesn't mean too much because the Panthers could win this game, and yet, well, they still haven't clinched, right? They would be 9-7 going into Sunday Night Football next week against the 8-8 Buccaneers for the division title. Don't think they win, but I think they kind of keep it close, man. Bryce Young's playing really good football. He is. The ability to scramble out the pocket, the presence now in the pocket as well for Bryce Young. He's playing phenomenal football. I will say this, though. The Panthers have traded wins and losses all the way since their Jets win like 8 weeks ago. It's been win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, and that's what's been able to keep the Buccaneers in the playoff race and the division race because the Panthers haven't been able to piece back-to-back games together while the Buccaneers have lost 6 of 7. So there's that. Tedero McMillan is an elite receiver in the league already. I'll say that. I think he needs to be targeted even more. But Ted McMillan is right on the cusp of now 1,000 receiving yards this year. We know their 1-2 punch running the ball with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, and their defense is solid enough. Seattle should win this game. They're coming off that big Thursday night victory and comeback victory against the Los Angeles Rams. Sam Darnold with a good game. And I've questioned Darnold's clutchness and clutch gene at times. He played very well against the Rams. Again, it's yet to be seen what happens for the postseason, though. I will say that. And the Seahawks, if they win this week, will go to San Francisco, where the winner of that game will get the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. They will. So that's a huge game. Likely gets flexed to Saturday night, I believe. Maybe Sunday night, but I think they're going to do Bucs-Panthers Sunday night because there's more at stake. I know, number 1 seed obviously is huge, but the loser's still in the playoffs and the number 1 wild card, and you get to go to the NFC South game, so you're probably going to win that one. Win or go home means a lot more than, this is for the number 1 seed, right? So I think they'll do Bucs-Panthers on Sunday night if the situation arises, which it probably should. I think Seattle, though, is going to beat the Panthers. Obviously, they have that big matchup next week. This team's playing phenomenal, man. Defensively, they're shaky sometimes, but I think they're good enough. The offense, again, has their days where they're not great, but that Rams game showed you what the Seahawks can do. Darnold, JSN, Kenneth Walker. It's a good team. What can I say? And I think the Panthers are playing good enough football as well. I know the Rams went into Carolina and lost earlier this year as well, so the Panthers have upset some good teams. I mean, another great team. They went on the road, obviously, to Lambeau and beat the Green Bay Packers. Again, the Carolina Panthers have been sneaky all year long, but I think the Seahawks get them here. And I think Seattle's run D should be able to play well enough against Dowdle and Hubbard. And those two guys didn't have much success against Tampa because if I can say anything about the Buccaneers, their run defense is still very effective. But then the secondary happens, and we're leaving corners and safeties on islands with Tedero and McMillan, and I'm getting flashbacks of Cooper Kupp in the NFC divisional round back in 2023. I'll never forgive you, Todd Bowles. Never for that. Tom Brady should have eight Super Bowls, and maybe his marriage is saved. Actually, no, I think it's for the better Tom's on that marriage with, I'm not going to say what I want to say about Gisele Bündchen, but just know, I'm not going to say what I want to say because I'll probably get in trouble for that. Anyways, give me the Seahawks to win this game. I'm going to take Carolina to cover. I think Darnold in the offense should be able to score enough, but I think the Panthers, again, can keep it close. Next up, let's go. The Tank Bowl. Who is going to try to lose more? Raiders or Giants? Loser versus loser. Current number one overall pick is going to the Giants. 2 overall pick currently to the Las Vegas Raiders. Who will try to lose more? My guess is the New York Giants. I'm taking for the first time this season. I think so. I don't think I've not taken them all year long, I think. Did I take them? No, I have not. Yeah. For the first time all year long, because I did take the Titans to beat this team and it didn't work. For the first time in 2025, I'm picking the Las Vegas Raiders to win a football game. Why? Because the Raiders are going to find a way to mess this up. All you need to do is lose out. Raiders fans want to lose out. You know what they're going to do, guys? They're going to win their next 2 games. They're going to beat the Giants, and they're going to beat the Chiefs, and they're going to be in a position where they can't even trade you for the number 1 overall pick. It's going to happen. The Giants are going to control their own destiny to the number 1 pick, and they are going to command so much for that number 1 overall pick. They're going to be taking calls from the Browns, from the Raiders, from the Jets, from the Cardinals, from the Miami Dolphins. They're going to be taking calls from all of these teams, and they're going to say, all right, from the Los Angeles Rams. They're going to say, all right, how much do you have? And we will give you the Heisman, and Fernando Mendoza will be on your team. That's what the Giants are doing with all this. They are still going to have a top pick in the draft next season, but they're not going to have the top pick because they're going to get so much to trade that. Remember how much the Jaguars gave up last year to get Travis Hunter? Yeah, that's for, again, a player that they thought can start at both positions at corner and receiver for them. Probably won't stay that way going forward, but he's going to be a very effective receiver, I think, in the National Football League and probably a third down corner for the rest of his career. Imagine now what teams are going to give up for a franchise quarterback and an elite pocket passing quarterback, something that you don't see roll around often. No disrespect to the dual threat guys. They're fun. They're good in their own ways. Something about an elite pocket passing quarterback just wins games. Just saying, look at the all-time great quarterbacks. How many of them are that dual threat build? Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. How many have won Super Bowls? Josh Allen might get his this year, but I just want to point this out. Look at the top teams right now in the NFL, and look what type of quarterback they have. Broncos, Bo Nix. Okay, they don't win because they're quarterback. Drake May, pocket passer. Trevor Lawrence can move, but pocket passer. Aaron Rodgers, pocket passer. Justin Herbert can move, but pocket passer. Josh Allen, exception. CJ Stroud, decent on the run, but fairly good at throwing the ball in the pocket. Seahawks, Sam Darnold, pocket passer. Caleb Williams, exception. He's very talented. Jalen Hurts, low-key running back, but great talent, obviously, going to probably be in the Hall of Fame someday. Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield, they're not elite teams. Brock Purdy, pocket passer. Matthew Stafford, pocket passer. Jordan Love, pocket passer. Jared Goff, pocket passer. You can make the case a lot of quarterbacks are dual threats. But, I mean, think about all the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks recently. Other than Mahomes, because Mahomes is an exception. And Jalen Hurts, exception. Tom Brady's. Peyton Manning's. These guys sit in the pocket. Joe Burrow lost Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford. Pocket passers. And when you get a player on the caliber of Fernando Mendoza, that's important. So losing this game is huge for both teams. I'm telling you guys, the Raiders are going to screw this up because now the entire Raiders fan base all year long has been cheering for Geno Smith to, maybe unwillingly, maybe not in the nicest way, but they've been cheering for Geno Smith to figure it out. Now they want to lose. And that's when the Raiders are going to get him. That's when Geno Smith is going to give his last, he's going to get the last laugh on the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's going to win these last 2 games, and they're going to have like the 8th pick instead of the 1st pick. It's going to be so typical Raiders. They're going to be the Giants this week, guys. I watched the Giants last week. Jackson Dart did not attempt to pass in the first quarter. It is very clear and very obvious. Their interim head coach has gotten the call. Hey, you're not coming back next year, but we'll find, we'll pay you a little bit, and we'll make sure you get a job somewhere else next year. We'll say very good things about you as long as you ensure that we don't win these games, or at least, run the ball a little bit more. We want to see what Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy have, okay? All right, just throw the ball on 3rd down. All right, thanks. Guys, I've watched the last 2 Giants games because we bet on the games. I bet on the Vikings last week, bet for the Giants a couple weeks ago. They're not putting their best foot forward right now. Jackson Dart had 33 passing yards because he attempted like 8 passes all game long. It's very clear they're not trying to win. So there you go. Trust me. The Raiders, they're not trying to win either, but I'll tell you this, Geno's going to care about winning. They were right there against the Texans. That's all I need to see. It's beyond like, oh, the Raiders are going to mess this up. Ha ha, lol, Raiders. No. I'm telling you, they're playing at a way better level than the Giants right now. Raiders win, and they mess it all up for the draft pick. Give me Las Vegas money line. And I'm actually very confident in that too. Might be on the best bets. I can't believe it. First Raiders pick of the year might be a best bet. But I'm seriously considering doing it. Next up, another even money game. There's only 2 afternoon games this week, and it's stupid. Raiders versus Giants, Eagles versus Bills. Red Zone's going to have one hell of a time covering 2 games. We're going to be hearing a lot of commercial breaks because thanks, NFL. And we're going to be hearing a lot of Scott Hanson. We're going to see a lot of fantasy player of the week, clutch play of the week. Scott Hanson's going to have to really cover for those commercial breaks, isn't he? Those 2 halftimes going to be brutal for Scott Hanson. And we're not going to have a second witching hour this week, I'll tell you that. Anyways, Eagles, Bills, feels like a big-time football game. I believe this is America's game of the week. Tom Brady, Kevin Burkhardt on commentary. Huge-time football game, and the Bills are absolutely going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So I am talking a huge game right now in the Jaguars, and I fully believe that. I am so high currently on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do think they're going to win the Super Bowl. However, the Bills are playing at a really great level too, though. A really high level right now. Buffalo's stretch after losing on Thursday night against the Texans, 4 straight victories, Pittsburgh on the road, Bengals comeback win, in New England, in Cleveland. They are finding ways to win. And that's all that matters at this point for a team like that who has struggled throughout the course of the season, but now they're just finding ways to get it done, and I can applaud that. They're playing the Eagles, who are playing slightly better, but at the same time, we need to consider who are they beating. Saquon Barkley with some of the most incredible runs you're going to see against the Washington Commanders kind of shows you what Saquon Barkley still can be. This is supposed to be an all-time horrible year for Barkley, and it has sure felt like that. Saquon Barkley is 9th in the NFL in rushing yards. Sure, it's because he's been able to stay on the field and he's been able to stay healthy. But this has been a historically horrible year for Barkley, who is the best running back of this generation, and yet he's still going to likely have 1,200 rushing yards. And sure, in a 17-game season, that's not great, right? For Saquon standards, but still massive yardage for Barkley here in 2025. So I just want to put that out there. Anyways, I'm taking the Bills to win this football game. I am. Eagles on the road. Yes, they've looked better, but we do have to remember who have they beaten. Washington and Vegas. 2 bad teams. Let's just say it how it is. Philly has clinched a playoff spot, and for the most part, they're stuck at 3. They could get up to 2, but a lot would need to go their way. Bears would need to lose out. Eagles would need to win out. It's probably not happening. So Philadelphia, I think they're probably going to sit their guys next week. They're going to have no reason to win in Week 18. They're going to get their bye week next week, essentially playing the Washington Commanders, because they're locked into the number 3 seed, where they will probably have to play, where they're going to have to play the worst team out of the NFC West, which right now, I believe, the way I have it everything going this week, that would be the Los Angeles Rams. And it probably will be the Los Angeles Rams, actually. Some other Rams have found a way to be the lowest. Wow. They're going to be last in the standings in the NFC West. That's crazy. Yeah, it's probably going to be. I think the Niners are going to have home field advantage in the playoffs. Yeah. That's something. Rams-Eagles first round. I know Rams fans don't want that. After last year, I mean, they probably should have won that game, but whatever. I know Rams fans don't want that game. I've seen it on Twitter. Rams fans are not happy about that being their potential matchup next week or in the playoffs. I think it's going to be, though. This game between Philadelphia and Buffalo, I'm taking the Bills to get it done. I think Josh Allen's going to have a big day. Philadelphia, yes, again, they're playing better, but look at the competition. This is a very difficult team to beat, especially beating them at Orchard Park. And I get it. Philly plays in the cold all the time. They're used to this environment. Sure, 100%. But still, you're going to that environment. I think Buffalo gets it done. It's a big game, prime time, nationally televised spot, Tom Brady on commentary, big Fox spot. I think Josh Allen and the Bills are going to get it done. I think they're playing better football than Philadelphia currently, and really for the Eagles, there's nowhere to go in the standings. You are, for the most part, just stuck at 3. So you're likely getting either Seattle or Los Angeles. And actually, the way I'm looking at it right now, hold on. No, actually, it'll probably be Seattle. Sorry. Seattle is going to be beneath the Rams. So look at Seattle going into Philly. And for the Eagles, hey, I like that spot if I'm the Eagles. That's all I'm saying. All right, if we Eagles, Seahawks in the first round, yeah, all right. I will happily take the Philadelphia Eagles in that spot. I'm just saying. Philly loses this week to the Bills. They're not going to win anything in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs, but they can probably win in the first round. So there's that. Bills win this one, though. Huge game now on Sunday Night Football, Bears versus Niners. Now, the Bears only need to win one of two to win the NFC North at this point, right? Because if they lose out, then the Packers would still get two. But that's how huge that victory was on Saturday night on Fox for the Bears. The overtime victory, obviously. What a ball to end the game, man. Caleb Williams, so impressive. I mean, that's why he was the number 1 overall pick. That's why he was such a highly touted prospect coming out of coming out of college. Caleb Williams is the truth, 100%, right? That guy's going to be a top 10 quarterback for the rest of his career, I feel like. And Ben Johnson, obviously, is helping that quite a bit. So good on the Bears. They're winning. They're looking really good right now. If they win this week, they clinch the number 1 seed. And if they beat the Niners this week, there's a very good chance they can wind up with the number 1 overall seed. If San Francisco beats Seattle next week, which I don't know if the Niners would play their starters, though, because I don't know how much that changes. No, they would, because they don't want to fall to 7. So, yeah. So, Bears win this week, and Niners beat the Seahawks next week. Bears number 1 seed, Rams win the division, and Niners now have to go to Philly in the first round. But Bears get the number 1 seed. I'm going with the Niners, though. I'm going with San Francisco, and I don't know how much I want to put into Monday Night Football being, well, that's just how great the Niners offense is, or that's just how horrible the Colts defense is. Regardless, someone's got to complete those passes. Those plays need to be made in the first place, and that a lot of credit needs to go to Brock Purdy. And the way Brock Purdy moved the football in that game, the way that the Niners, that run offense, that rushing game this entire season has been pitiful. It was not against the Colts. McCaffrey's done a lot of his work this year. Swing routes, getting to the outside, passing game just in general. Nope. McCaffrey had a day on the ground. Had his longest rush of the entire year, which was like 30 yards, but had it against Indianapolis on Monday night. I'm taking the Niners, guys. I'm going back to my Super Bowl pick right now. My current Super Bowl pick is the San Francisco 49ers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's what I believe the Super Bowl is going to be. Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara, California. At home, the Niners are going to get Jacksonville, and currently I would pick Jacksonville to win their first ever Super Bowl. Again, that might change, but honestly, unless the Jaguars slip on a banana peel this week, I'm pretty locked in on Jacksonville winning the Super Bowl going forward. That's going to be my pick from here on out, I think. And you're going to hear that quite a bit. So, the Niners are looking good, though. They're looking great, and I think they should be able to score against the Bears and put up a lot of points in the Bears. Obviously, again, Chicago's looking great at the same time. I still think they're going to win the North because then they're actually have to try to beat the Lions. However, oh man, the Lions in a spoil spot like we saw years ago against Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. There's a chance the Lions spoil that next week. They're playing Ben Johnson. They might screw over the Bears for the division. I don't know. In a game that does not matter for them, they might. Who knows? But in this spot, I am going to take the 49ers. The Bears are playing incredibly great football currently. The Niners are just playing slightly better. And defensively, they're looking all right. Secondary scares me sometimes, and that's what's going to continue to scare me in this game with Caleb Williams. But Caleb did not play great first 3 quarters. What he did in the fourth quarter and in overtime, huge. And I know, again, they need an onside kick, which is like an 8% conversion rate this season. They needed the onside kick to beat the Packers. Well, they got it. Don't hate the team, hate the game, I guess. So good on the Bears, but I'm going to take the 49ers to win this football game and cover the 3 points. Currently my favorite to win the NFC, not the National League. Currently win the NFC. I'm going to go with Brock Purdy and the Niners to beat the Bears en route now to likely another Super Bowl appearance where I hate to say it, they're going to lose their 4th in the last 15 years. Ooh, that's brutal. But I think they're going to lose again in the Super Bowl. I don't know. Just putting it out there. Final prediction, or final game of the week, Monday Night Football. Oh, wow, the Falcons. Good on Atlanta, going to Arizona last week and beating the Cardinals. It's not hard to beat the Cardinals, though. I mean, my local high school team could probably find a way to score points on Arizona. Probably. Now, obviously, the Cardinals offense with Brissett, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, best tight end in football, and Marvin Harrison, they'll score points, too, and they're always a tough out. But defensively, Arizona just sucks. And Jacoby Brissett is going to make some mistakes. And eventually you're going to force Arizona to either punt or just turn the football over. And the Falcons win the game. They get it 26-19 at home. Atlanta's now put together back-to-back victories, and they're making that pick the Rams have just a little bit worse. Los Angeles now is down to the 11th pick, obviously, because they have Atlanta's pick this season. So here's a chance for the Rams to make their pick a little bit better, though. They get to go to Atlanta and win this football game. I think they're going to absolutely do that. Rams coming off a long week off, essentially. Played on Thursday night. Now they get to play on a Monday night, which helps Devontae Adams get healthy. We don't know if Devontae's going to play or not. Obviously, the number one focus for the Rams in terms of Devontae Adams' health is going to be getting him back for the postseason, but this does give him the best possible chance to play this football game. Tyler Higbee may be back for the postseason as well. Havenstein might be back, their tackle. Not for this game, but might be back for the playoffs. The Rams are getting healthy going into the postseason. I will say that. Dotson as well, who's a guard on this team, may be coming back for the playoffs too. The Rams are getting healthier, and Puka Nacua, regardless of what you think about Puka's off-the-field antics, which, I'm not going to make a statement about that. Greedo plays clips on TikTok. Puka Nacua is balling. He's the best receiver in the NFL, 1,600 yards. It's absurd what he's doing. He's currently the best receiver in football. And yes, he benefits with a Matthew Stafford offense, and what that is Matthew Stafford eyeing in on his number one receiver, and all right, give him the ball. And obviously in the red zone, he just does that with Devontae Adams. But Puka Nacua is elite. It's crazy what he's doing right now. It's an all-time pace Puka Nacua is on for the first 3 years of his NFL career, and that is still, even with the injuries he's got, he's still, like, in games played, he's at an all-time pace currently. 225 yards against the Seattle Seahawks, and they should be able to absolutely dominate the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta's just not going to be able to keep up scoring-wise. And yes, Kenneth Walker had some big runs against the Rams. Sam Darnold made some big plays with 2 JSN and whatnot. Rashid Shaheed did the punt return touchdown for the Seattle Seahawks, which was great. The Falcons are going to struggle to score a little bit, though. Shout out to Kirk. Kirk's playing better football. I've already said I don't think Kirk Cousins is a starting caliber guy in the NFL anymore. I think he's a backup for the rest of his career if he continues to play post this season, which he's still on contract for one more year, right? So there's no reason for him not to come back next year and just get a bag, obviously. And actually, Penix is going to be out. So actually, if I'm Kirk, you're probably going to start next season. So yeah, actually, why not? You're going to get paid $45 million to start for a bad team, sure. With weapons, with probably no more Kyle Pitts. But anyways, Atlanta just won't be able to keep up. Like the Rams, their pace in which they can score at. This will be a game that Matthew Stafford will have to continue to boost his MVP campaign. It's pretty much a surefire thing he's going to win the award at this point, but this is going to be another game that just boosts them. And I think the Rams go into Atlanta and win and cover the spread against their former defensive coordinator in Raheem Morris, who probably has to be coaching his final 2 games as the Falcons head coach. I would think great coordinator, not a good head coach. Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles not even Todd Bowles, an okay coordinator, was carried by talent in Tampa, was a really good coordinator in Arizona. Anyways, though, Rams beat Raheem Morris and the Falcons on the road, and they cover the 8.5 points. Folks, thank y'all for watching our NFL predictions here for Week 17. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to comment if you did this great thing in the picks. We'll be back later in the week for our best player props and best money line/spreads. Again, money lines and spreads on Friday, player props on Saturday, both being posted at noon West Coast time for both of those. And we'll be back this time next week, for our Week 18 NFL predictions as well. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba forever.